The fascination with the end of the world and doomsday prophecies has been around as long as religion has existed. Over the years, there have been many predictions that the end of the world is fast approaching, and some people have even set specific dates for this cataclysmic event. Welcome back to FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton. Thanks for joining me for another episode. And in this episode, I'm going to be looking at just 10 scary end of the world predictions and prophecies that failed. Okay, there's a whole lot of them, but I can only fit 10 in this video. So starting off with the prophecy at number 10, we have Montanism movement. Now, the Montanism movement was a 2nd century movement of Christianity, and it began in Phrygia, which is modern-day Turkey, and it's based on the visions of Montanus, who claimed to speak under the influence of the Holy Spirit. Montanists believed that the second coming of Jesus Christ was very, very close, and many Christians left their homes to go to a plain between the two villages of Pepuza and Timian, and this plain was located in Phrygia. Now, this was where Montanus claimed that the heavenly version of the city of Jerusalem would descend to earth. But of course, that never happened. Moving on to number 9, we have the Great Flood. Now, this one 100% sounds like it was taken from a page out of the Bible. Johannes Stoffler, who was a German mathematician as well as an astrologer, he made a prediction that a great flood is gonna come and destroy the world on February 25th, 1524. Now, this is when all of the known planets at the time would be in alignment under Pisces, which, if you're familiar with the zodiac signs, you'll know that Pisces is a water sign. Water, flood, see the correlation there? Now, the news of this spread like wildfire, and it created a lot of panic, and there was some light rain on the predicted flood day, but no actual flood ever happened. Moving on to number 8, we have the Great Fire of London. Yeah, speaking of spreading like wildfire, this one comes because of the Bible, and it says that 666 is related to the end of the world and the mark of the beast and all of that. So a lot of people feared that the world was going to end in 1666. Now, the Great London Fire, which lasted from September 2nd to September 6th of that year, destroyed many churches and thousands of houses. Many saw this as the fulfillment of the end of the world prophecy, but the fire was eventually extinguished and the world is still here. Number 7 is the prophet hen. This is an interesting one. Back in 1806, there was a domesticated hen in Leeds, England, and apparently this egg was laying eggs that had been inscribed with the message, "Christ is coming." So of course, people are wondering like, whoa, this is amazing. And a large number of people started to come. They wanted to go and see the eggs, see the messages on the eggs, and a lot of fear started to develop because they thought Judgment Day was coming, the complete end of the world. But shortly after, it was discovered that it was the egg's owner. These were prophetic eggs, by the way, but the egg's owner actually was writing on the eggs with ink and reinserting them into the hen. Number 6 brings us JOANNA Southcott. Starting at the age of 42 years old, JOANNA Southcott, she reported hearing voices that predicted future events. And these predictions included the crop failures and famines of 1799 and 1800. Now, she started writing quite a few books, and she developed a large following of over 100,000 believers. Now, in the year 1813, she announced that in the following year, she would give birth to the second Messiah, whose birth would signal the last days. Now, she was 64 years old at that time, and she actually told doctors that she was a virgin. Now, the date of the birth predicted was October 19th, 1814. And it turns out that JOANNA Southcott, she had a disorder that made it look like she was pregnant. No, she wasn't pregnant. No baby came. Halfway to number 5, we have Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet passes by the Earth around every 76 years, but the closeness of this comet to Earth in 1910 created a whole lot of fear that it would destroy the planet. It would either collide with Earth or poisonous gases would spill into the Earth's atmosphere and destroy human life. Now, there was a worldwide panic that followed. Of course, newspaper headlines and news coverage, they just blew this out of proportion. There was even reports of people trying to sacrifice a virgin to stop the earth from being destroyed, as well as people started selling bottled air. Number 4 brings us True Way. Now, the Taiwanese religious leader Han Ming-chen established Chen Tao, also known as True Way, and it was a religious movement that blended various different concepts and elements of Christianity, Buddhism, UFO conspiracy theories, as well as Taiwanese folk religion. And Han Ming-chen, he preached that God would appear on US TV, specifically Channel 18, on March 25th, 1988, to announce that he would descend to the earth the following week in a physical form which was identical to himself. Now, the following year, he also prophesied that millions of devils and spirits, together with a large flood, would result in the extinction of humankind. But no such events occurred because we're still here. Millerism comes in at number 3. Okay, so religious leader William Miller, he began to preach in 1831 that the end of the world would happen with the second coming of Jesus, also known as the advent of Jesus. And now this was supposed to happen back in 1843. Now, when the prediction of 1843 failed, Jesus didn't come, well, he recalculated and he determined that he made a mistake and that the world would actually end in 1844. But hey, 1844 came and Jesus didn't come at that time either. And since then, that specific event has been known in Christian Adventist circles as the Great Disappointment. Now, one of his followers, Henry Emmons, he wrote this, and I quote, "I waited all Tuesday, and dear Jesus did not come. I lay prostrate for 2 days without any pain, sick with disappointment." Number 2 brings us probably our most recent one. Here we have Harold Camping. This is probably one of the most popular end time predictions that have ever happened. But these weren't just recent predictions, because Harold Camping has been prophesying the end of the world for quite some time. Harold Camping has published previously that the end of the world would happen as many as 12 times based on his interpretations of biblical knowledge and numerology and prophecies. As a matter of fact, back in the year 1992, he published a book that was titled 1994 with a question mark, which predicted the end of the world sometime around that year. And perhaps the most high-profile prediction was for May 21st, 2011. And that date he calculated to be exactly 7,000 years after the Great Flood, according to the Bible. Now, when the date passed without anything happening, he said that his math was off and he pushed back to about 5 months later on, and he said that the end of the world would actually end on October 21st, 2012. But after that event happened, end of the world didn't happen either. He acknowledged that his prophecy had been wrong, and he posted a letter on his ministry's website telling his followers that he had no evidence that the world would end anytime soon, and that he wasn't interested in predicting any more future dates. Shortly after that, though, he suffered a stroke and passed away. The 2012 Maya calendar ending. December 21st, 2012 was a very epic day. It marked the end of the first great cycle of the Maya long count calendar. Now, many misinterpreted this to mean that the world would end because the calendar ended. But this calendar actually tracked time continuously from a date 5,125 years earlier, and the doomsday predictions, because of that, started to pop up everywhere. The end of the world scenarios, including the Earth colliding with an imaginary planet called Nibiru, as well as giant solar flares, planetary alignments, as well as a lot of catastrophic events were to happen and knock the Earth out of alignment with the sun. But none of that happened. And preparations for the end of the world included there being built a modern-day Noah's Ark by a man in China, as well as people were selling survival kits and people quitting their jobs, selling their possessions, and all of that because they thought the world was going to end. But none of that happened. All right, guys, so that was just a brief look at 10 scary end of the world predictions that failed. Let me know down below in the comment section which of these were new to you, which of these did you know about. definitely join on the conversation below. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to leave a like. And also, if this is your first time here to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when new videos are posted. Here at FTD Facts, we explore the various different countries, cultures, religions, and people of our world. So if those topics are of interest to you, join the FTD Facts family, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow in another episode.